Hey guys, I'm excited to be here with you today to do a virtual learning session with Formative. Um, my name is Eric Bryan, and I've been using Formative for at least a year now. I was introduced to it last year um, by my educational technology specialist in our building. And so I started using it and finding other different ways that it can be really useful in my classroom since I teach English. And so hopefully some of the things that I share with you today can help you out and give you some ideas maybe on what you can do and maybe go above and beyond what I have done. So we'll get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And go over to my presentation. So if you are interested, here is the shortened link once it finally loads here at the bottom. If you'd like to keep this and save it for another time to take a look at, that's completely fine with me. So as I said, my name is Eric Bryan. I've been in education for 14 years. And this year is a little bit different for me because after last year being so engaged with educational technology with things like Formative, I was given the opportunity to become the instructional coach at my high school here, and which is North County High School in Bon Terre, Missouri. And so I teach part-time advanced English 2 classes. I have two of those at the end of the day, and the biggest part of my day is spent becoming or being the instructional coach. I also help a lot with the ed tech department, which is only one person besides myself. And our high school just went one-to-one last year, and our middle school went one-to-one this year. So she is busy doing a lot of different things between our building and that. So that's why I'm here. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at edtech_nerd. And so getting right into it, the first thing I wanted to share with you guys was this first day learning inventory sort of thing. This is something that a colleague of mine and I have used several times, several years in the past. And before it was always on paper, and we had to go through the results and figure out who knew what and who needed help with which things. And so once I found Formative, I decided that I would definitely put this into a formative activity. And so this is a really great way to get to know your new students coming in for the new school year. So let me show you an example of what this looks like. So in it, there are different questions that I ask. Oops. Not too personal questions. Just something that helps me as the teacher know exactly what the students will need help with, what they already know, what they're coming in, understanding what sort of prior knowledge they have. And so that way it gives me sort of an avenue or look down the avenue of which way I need to go. So these are some of the questions. I've given you the clone link also in my presentation, so you can take this and clone it for yourself, tailor it to whatever you need to do if you'd like to, change it however you like. Here's a preview of it on the student end. And really, to be honest, some people might be a little bit leery about asking certain students these types of questions, especially with the one that says I live with and they're expected to finish it, or might be surprised to learn that and to be honest, the kids are really open. This is an assignment that really allows the kids to open up and feel comfortable with you as the teacher. I always tell them that they can put down as much information as they would want me to know. Anything they don't want me to know, by all means, they don't need to do it. But it also gives me an idea of who they are without really having a lot of class time one-on-one speaking with them. So in addition to the first 13 questions on just general information about themselves, the second part of this assignment, excuse me, is something that we like to do with um, prior knowledge on usage and grammar and different things of that sort. This used to be in a paragraph, but I like to break it up in sentences like this. So they are expected to rewrite the sentence, fix any sort of mistakes that they see, and that gives me an idea of what they know and how good their writing is going to be for the rest of the school year. And then the final question that I have on here is just to have them to write me a paragraph, what they like to do, what their hobbies might be, what their goals are for the school year, just something to get them going, get them thinking about things academically, which sometimes a lot of kids forget to do. It seems like they like to be here for the party and socialization. But that's one thing that I like to have my students do with Formative. The second thing that I have for you guys is this particular thing that I've used in many other classes. Most recently, I was using it in a short stories class that I was teaching for the past several years, but it's a plot structure review. And if you'd like to click on that link, go ahead and that'll clone it for you as well and put it into your Formative dashboard. And this is something that can be used for any grade level. I was using it with freshmen when I taught freshmen. I was using it with juniors and seniors in the short stories class that I taught. So it really gives me an opportunity to see how the kids are doing with your basic plot structure analysis on anything that you read, whether it's a novel, a short story, or even a TV show that you watch in class. So the weak spots are really identified using this. And let me show you the example of that. Whenever I taught this, I used it with the Twilight Zone episode in my short stories class. The Twilight Zone fit perfectly in that short stories class, and it lended itself to such great conversations and different things that we could talk to the kids about. But once you clone this, you can change this to anything that you need, because the PDF that I uploaded into this does not specify what story it is. But I also wanted to point out that I put in a link here to a Quizlet plot study set that I found and saved. I can't take credit for the Quizlet study set. I found that one day and I decided to just copy it. Why reinvent the wheel? And so I linked that here so that any student who needed any sort of refresher on any of the stages of plot structure, they could go there and take a look. This would be really useful even for lower grades, not just freshmen in high school, but middle school, intermediate school. Having the PDF upload function here with Formative is really an awesome way to use that go-to assignment that you were used to using all the time and still using it. However, transforming it into something that's going to work more for you. And so I did this. I found this plot structure diagram one time online, I believe. And so I just saved it as a PDF. I uploaded it into Formative. I put all my question spots on here, and then the students will answer to the right when they see it. So this gives me the opportunity to see what they struggle with. And if there's a definite low spot or an indication that kids are struggling with any sort of phase of rising action or with the theme, which tends to be a really sticky subject with the kids, I think, then that will tell me, hey, I need to go back and reteach some of that. So here's what the Formative looks like on the student end. And so a good thing about this also is that sometimes the kids will see this if you are a one-to-one school. And too small, I can't see it. They click the zoom in button and it will bring it up almost to full screen size so that they can actually see and read some of the details of the assignment sheet that's there. And then they go click show questions to go back to their questions, and they fill into the areas that they need to be that they need to complete. So I really like this. I think it's a quick, very simple sort of assignment, but I think it's a pretty important one to have when you're starting anything like that, a novel or short stories unit. This next thing that I want to do, the third example in my presentation is pulling music into your classroom to engage. I don't know about you, but I think I can probably guess that everyone else out there has students in their classroom who would prefer to listen to music when they do their work, which personally, it doesn't really bother me too much as long as it's being done appropriately. But I found a lesson plan one time that I thought was just excellent because the kids can get this music fix that they're always looking for, and you bring it into your classroom and use that particular channel to get the kids thinking more academically and more analytically. Um, so whenever I taught, or when I still teach Lord of the Flies to my advanced sophomores, this lesson plan brings up 3 different musical selections by various artists that is based off of Lord of the Flies or inspired at least by the novel. And so I thought, what perfect way then to put this in a formative? We can put this into this formative right here that I'm bringing up. And the good thing about this, there are 3 different songs in this formative, and the kids can do this really in any order that they would like. I always tell them whenever I assign this to them, look at it, do the one that you want to do first, and just go from there. It's not in any particular order. And so the YouTube video for the song is there. So all they do is plug in their earbuds, they listen to it. They can also access the lyrics. I put the lyrics on here. Ideally, it would be really neat to give the students the link to the lyrics somewhere out on the web. However, a lot of the lyric sites that I've tried to give to my students tend to be blocked by our network, so I just found it easier to copy the lyrics down into this formative so that the kids can refer to the lyrics when they need to for analytical reasons, and then also take a look at the YouTube video. Then there's short answer discussion questions follow each video that I've embedded. And each question that I put in here, I tried to have it tie back to something to the novel. I wanted them to make connections between this particular song and the novel of what we've read and what we've discussed in class. So I really like this one. I first started using this assignment last year in my class, and I really believe the kids really enjoyed it. They thought it was very interesting because you've got 3 very different songs. You've got an Iron Maiden song, which they kind of laugh at because they think, how can Iron Maiden have anything to do with Lord of the Flies? Well, that song is specifically geared toward that novel. It's The End of the World as We Know It by REM, which is something that I definitely have always liked this song. I think it's a fun song. It's really upbeat. And then you have the other one, Mad World, by Gary Jules, which is kind of a sad and depressing and a sort of a dark song, but yet so is the novel. And so the kids really have an interesting time with this. And so the results on this really show me how the kids have really taken the novel, how they've heeded the lessons that they learn in the book. And so it's a pretty fun thing to do. So that is my 3rd example. And that's all I have for this part. There will be a part 2 coming up pretty soon. And so stay tuned to Twitter and Formative and the Community Center on Formative if you are a member. That will be announced through there. If you have any questions about any of these formatives that I have shared with you today through this presentation, feel free to email me. There's my email address, ebrian@ncsd.k12.mo.us. My Twitter handle @edtechnerd or @edtech_nerd. And I'll get back with you as soon as I can on anything. So I think this just about does it for my time period. Like I said, reach out, and I hope everybody has a great day. I'll see you next time on part 2.